Witchcraft and witches in Europe. Witches are supernatural people who practice witchcraft and have special magic abilities. In Europe, the initial theory of witches began as early as the 5th century. The conviction of witches in Europe occurred during the 15th century and continued into the late 18th century. The idea of witches stemmed out of public fear. Blaming people for being witches was an easy way to justify the cause of drought, disease, famine, etc. Europeans believed that these so-called witches made a deal with the devil to practice black magic. Due to this belief, anyone who seemed to act special or different in any way was accused to be an evil witch. The idea of witches also stemmed from religious beliefs. Anyone who protested against the Christian or Catholic religion in Europe was a heretic. Heretics were people who disagreed with the religious beliefs or practices and were almost always accused to be witches. This conviction equated to a punishment at the level of a capital offense. The majority of suspected witches happened to be women. All suspects were submitted to torture to try and have them confess that they were witches. These alleged witches were tested in lose-lose situations. The reason I say lose-lose situations is because either way the test would kill them. For example, the swimming of the witches was a test that involved tying the hands and feet together to a rock and submerging the person in water. If the person floated to the top, they were a witch and would be killed. If the person never came to the surface, they were an innocent human and were killed for no reason. Obviously, the innocents were never proven to be witches. So either way, the tortures and tests would usually always kill the suspect no matter what. Another test included stabbing or scratching the accused to see if they would shed blood. If there was a spot on their body where they didn't bleed, they were assumed to be a witch. Other tests included reading passages from the Bible without any mistakes, which proved to be difficult for most poor, illiterate townspeople. Every witch trial test was greatly flawed and near to impossible to pass without being killed. In many other instances, the alleged witch wouldn't even be tested. If enough people thought someone was guilty, they would be sent straight away to the stake to be burned or hung. Unfortunately, the outrageous belief in witches didn't die down until thousands of people were killed. By the end of the witch trials in Europe, it is said that over 60,000 innocent people died. During the late 18th century, Europeans began to oppose the harsh tests and tortures of the past. Those who were more educated finally understood how ridiculous the concept of witchcraft was and gave up believing it altogether. The last recorded witch execution was in Bavaria, Germany in 1775. People finally began to realize how many townspeople hadn't been guilty, and the witch trials finally ended. The end.